Hi, I'm Dr. Caroline Leaf and welcome to my podcast, Cleaning Up the Mental Mess. In today's podcast, this is part 4 of a series I'm doing of basic little mini concepts that I teach on the mind. So please go listen to part 1, 2, and 3. They're not long, to make sure that you understand the different parts of the interconnected mind. I gave an analogy and we've spoken about warning signals. Now today, in part 4, I'm going to talk about the difference between thoughts and memories. So they are different, they're not the same. So a thought can be seen as the product of mind. So we've been speaking about mind, and if we give a broad definition of mind, we talk about mind being your ability to think, feel, and choose. Your mind is your aliveness, your ability to think, feel, and choose. We'll do another deeper, next part 5 is actually more depth about that concept. But think of today as mind, as being your ability to think, feel, and choose, and there's a product of mind, which is a thought. So when you think, feel, and choose, you make thoughts. You can't not make thoughts. So what do we think, feel, and choose in response to? Life experiences. So for example, you listening to this podcast is a life experience. You are taking this content with your mind and you're building it into your brain as a thought. So a thought is the name of the tree. It looks like a tree. So I'm going to take this little image over here that you've seen. If you've watched me, you've seen this come up many times. And this would be a thought tree. Thoughts look like trees. They look like trees inside the brain, okay? So they take on a structure that looks like a tree inside of the brain. So we'll just start with that first, and then we'll talk about the different forms that thoughts take on. But let's understand the first form, the structure, and let's understand the difference between thoughts and memories. So thoughts are that life experience building into your brain via your mind. So this conversation is becoming a thought tree inside your brain. It also goes in your body and mind, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's look at the structure. A thought it looks like a tree because the thought's got different parts. I am speaking and giving you information. That information, the source is from me. I'm the source of your current experience. You know that this is a podcast about cleaning up the mental mess. So the name of your tree could be Cleaning Up the Mental Mess. Now that I'm giving you more information, you may have renamed your tree What is a Thought? Or you may have renamed your tree The Difference Between Thoughts and Memories. In other words, like we have peach trees and apple trees and fir trees, we name trees. That's the tree. The same thing we name a thought. A thought has a basic overarching name, a concept. So thought is the main overarching concept. So I am talking now about what is a thought. So that's the name of the tree that you're building in your brain. The thought tree that you're building in your brain is called What is a Thought? But now I'm giving you not just what is a thought, I'm telling you the data. I've said a lot of stuff already. And all that stuff that I'm saying, those are the memories. So the memories clustered, similar memories clustered together, organize and categorize and associate themselves together into thought trees. So as I am delivering this information about what is a thought and the difference between thoughts and memories, that information is going into the root system, to give you an analogy, okay? So the source of the issue, the experience, which is this conversation, so the experience could be a positive or negative, okay, or neutral, that goes into the source. So my words and images coming at you go into the root system. So those are the root memories, the source memories, the origin story, okay? In this case, I'm telling you good stuff. So I'm using a healthy tree. Maybe from here, you listen to this podcast and you go into a conversation with a best friend and you have a great experience. So you build lunch with friend is the name of the tree, and all the conversation and the excitement that's health, that's in the root, the actual experience, the detail is going into the roots. Let's say you then go from there back to work and you have a fight with your boss. So now this has become a toxic, this is another tree, argument with boss, and the source would be what the actual experience of arguing with boss, okay? So that's the first part of this concept. The thought is the overarching thing, and the thought is made of memories. You can see a tree is made of branches and roots, and we also know that a tree has lots of roots and lots of branches. In the same way, a thought has lots of root memories and lots of branch memories. Maybe it's just a short conversation with your boss, and so it's only maybe 30 or 40 or 100 little roots here. Maybe it is a 3-hour-long conversation with your friend. So there's a lot, and you talk about so many things, so there's lots, maybe 1,000 or 2,000. This talk that we're having now, that I'm giving, by the end of this, you would have at least 500 to 1,000 branches, root memories. So in other words, one thought can be made of anything from a few to thousands to tens of thousands of memories. And as you can imagine, let's just take my area of expertise, which is the mind-brain-body connection, psychoneurobiology, and all the years I've been in this field for over almost 38 years now. So I have a lot of big trees, and they're green ones and healthy ones, and they don't look this size. They are lots and lots because I've done so much research, thinking, reading, studying, degrees. So I've got lots, and they're big and they're bushy. So the more you think about something, the more you understand it, the more you learn, the more branches you add to those trees, those thought trees. So thoughts can continue to grow. They're evolving, they're changing, they're dynamic. By the same token, you can have one viewpoint. So, for example, my understanding of the brain has changed radically in the last 30 years. So what I was trained, for example, in the 80s compared to what now in 2022, it's changed. So that thought on my knowledge of the brain, for example, has changed. So I've got new branches added and some that were taken out that was incorrect information because we've advanced in our knowledge. So in other words, memories within thoughts change, and thoughts change because we're adding new stuff onto them. So that's the root part. That's the concept of roots getting new stuff changed and the whole thought changing. So what's this part that's sticking out above ground? Those are the branch memories. So those are the root memories. These are the branch memories. So this is the source, what I'm saying, the lecture, the conversation with your friend, the argument with your boss. This is your interpretation of that. How you uniquely process through the tree trunk into the branches. Because remember, the roots grows through the ground and pops out of the ground as a branch, and branches grow and then leaves grow on that. And more branches and more leaves, and so more and more data. So this part sticking up there is unique to all of you listening. So all of you that are listening to me, your roots are the same, but your interpretation of what I'm saying is going to be based on how you uniquely think, feel, and choose, and your unique experiences of how you are hearing me, your perceptions of what you are hearing. And that is all built into this. So everyone will have a different bushy part out here, the above the ground stuff. So that's your interpretation of what you are hearing. This is the interpretation of what you're hearing. So your boss maybe said, hey, I'm not happy with this, this, and this. And your interpretation is that your boss is going to fire you and it's the end of the world and you don't have a job and that's it. And they overlooked you for a promotion. And then that affects, so it's your interpretation because you've processed it like that from the signals you've got. That could be the case, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it means something else. Maybe your boss is just saying that particular part of your work is not great. And if you actually go and approach your boss and say, okay, you're going to fire me, or does this the end, whatever, you'll find it's another story. Okay. So, but the point here is that this, from the source, we process uniquely. This processing is how you uniquely think, feel, and choose, and it produces these branches. This collectively looks like these trees inside of your brain. Inside your cells, as soon as it's built in your brain then sends a message to all your cells. Now your body, your brain and your body are made of about 37 to 100 trillion cells. So that's a lot of cells. And every cell groups into your organs, your systems, and your body. And every cell has a representation of this that looks like a tree inside your cell. I know it's complex to even process it, but there's changes in the cytoskeleton of your cell in special little proteins, and they change, and there's gabillions of these things in each cell. I mean, this is how brilliant we are, and that there's a change in them. So with every new data, there's new changes in our cell, and this is why we have body memory, because if it's toxic, there's a change in your cells, and there's a pain in your body, and so maybe your boss becomes a sore shoulder, ache in your elbow. I mean, I'm just throwing out any old thing. It doesn't necessarily, it's different for each of us. It could be the same consistent thing that each time you're anxious, it's your gut, whatever. It's unique for each of us. But the point is that our body also remembers it. So it's almost as though every cell clusters into the organs and the systems, and each system of our body has a representation of this thought with its embedded memories, which then is moves up into your brain. So all these different perspectives from our body coalesce into this thought in the brain via your mind activating that. If you did, that doesn't happen. So your mind is driving this process and driving this integration of information from your body to your brain, to the network in your brain, and your mind is then taking that and making sense of it. And then the combination of mind, brain, body produces what you say and what you do, how you react, how you respond, how that plays out. Maybe it's an argument with your boss, or maybe it's completely withdrawing, going to complete panic and going home and telling your loved one that you're going to be fired, or maybe it is, I learned something new, whatever. In other words, how do you show up? What do you feel, say, do, and your perspective? So how do you show up in your life as a result of this experience? So everything you say, everything you do, everything you feel, every sensation in your body, and every attitude, mindset, perspective you have on life isn't a random event. It can be tracked back to a thought with its embedded memories that has a source that is processed into branches. So this was part 4, and next time I'm going to be talking more about the mind. Okay, so go listen, make sure that you go back and listen to the others and make sure that you understand all of those, because it'll play into the next one. So thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to telling you about the mind next time.